Francis Ngannou is the UFC heavyweight champ, and he's going to be really hard to take down, have fight ending power from the moment the bell goes, the technique to land it, and the patience to hide it and wait for it and not blow his load early. And it's going to be so interesting to see if he can stay at that level and for how long and what people can do against him. I Stipe, I feel like has a good argument for a rematch. I mean, they're 1-1 now, and the last time he lost to a guy and asked for a rematch, he came in there and got the win. So from that perspective, it makes sense. This was a 25-foot cage, and if I think about two of the biggest moments in the fight, they were Francis stuffing Stipe's single leg and Francis dropping Stipe to start that finishing sequence, and both happened kind of because of the cage. Stipe shot for that single leg in the open because that's what you want to do against a guy like Francis. Make him dance on one leg, make him balance that huge body, and take him for a ride. Having the cage to your back is a huge help in fending off that single leg, especially with the strength advantage Francis had, where he could sort of stabilize and then really just explode. So 5 feet of cage farther back, and Stipe maybe gets that takedown, and then that drop came with Stipe's back against the cage. So 5 feet further back, and maybe he has more lateral space to move. He can argue that. He took a lot of shots, so I wouldn't want to see him in there for at least a year. And at that point, he'd be 38, 39. So, and even if he wins, then the UFC is like, shit, well, now what? So I don't think the incentive is really there for the UFC to match Stipe up. Dana disrespecting John Jones in the press conference, probably on purpose, saying, I bet he wants to move to middleweight after watching this. I I think he's just trying to set up a low ball for Jones where ever because Jones has such like a fragile ego at times, just when you see him like going nonstop on Twitter. And I think if Dana can swing the whole world into calling John Jones a pussy for not taking Francis Ngannou for like 500K and a Venom pair of shorts, then maybe he can go Jones into taking that offer, which bracketing all my feelings about John Jones, this would be a mega fight that honestly both guys should be getting tens of millions of dollars for. So I really hope that doesn't work. And I hope that fight, if it gets made in all its glory with both fighters taking home the purse they deserve. It doesn't have to be Jones for me next, though. I mean, I think you've got Cyril Gane, Derek Lewis, and Alexander Volkov all coming off wins with their own arguments for a title shot. Francis said July, August, I believe, for his first defense. I'd be happy to see one of those three guys go. Personally, Volkov kind of intrigues me the most. Just if Francis wants to play the technical striking game, I think it gives Volkov a little more of a chance, even though if you've got like 10 explosions coming in the first 2 minutes, I feel like there's a better chance of Volkov getting knocked out versus 10 explosions over the first 2 rounds, even though the ladder will set Francis up better for third, fourth, and fifth rounds, which he still would have a good chance to win. I just think Volkov would test the range, and the guy's got a fairly durable chin, so that would be an interesting one. The Derek Lewis rematch would be hard to market maybe after that first fight. Well, hard to market based on the first fight, but there is a bit of a story there. I guess it would kind of complete the Ngannou redemption arc if you view like the low point as that first title loss and then that fight against Lewis. And then Cyril Gane and Ngannou have trained before in Paris. So that would be interesting. Gane with his defense certainly has a really good argument for being the next guy to get in there and stay safe with Francis. I just think with his career so young and early that it wouldn't hurt him to get a couple more wins before going in there. I'd love to see Gon versus Blade and put that kind of test on Gon. So there's so many options at the heavyweight division. You could match Stipe up with one of those guys first after like 8-month layoff, just to see like he really is still at that top level and build a bit of a better case. It's hard to feel like there's any bad option with any of the things I just described. It's going to be really exciting watching the division take on this terrifying apex predator of a champion. And that's, I guess, where to wrap up this UFC recap. It was wow.